Have you ever met someone who seemed too good to be true, only to later realize they were the reason you felt drained, confused, and even broken? Evil doesn't always come in the form of a monster. It doesn't wear a warning sign. It doesn't announce its intentions. No, evil is quiet. It's calculated. It wears a mask of kindness, charm, and even generosity. It can be the person who smiles at you, shakes your hand, and tells you everything you want to hear, but behind that mask, there's deception, manipulation, and a hunger for control. This is why so many good-hearted people get trapped. Because when you have a pure heart, you assume others do too. You want to believe in the best in people. You give chances, you forgive. And that's exactly what evil counts on. But here's the truth. If you don't recognize evil early, it will take everything from you. Your peace, your confidence, even your sense of reality. That's why this video is crucial. Because by the time you finish watching, you will never be fooled again. You will see through the mask. You will understand how to protect yourself, and most importantly, you will reclaim your power. So stay with me until the end, because the knowledge you gain here will save you from years of pain. It could be the difference between living a life of freedom or being trapped in someone else's twisted game. Now, let's begin. Once evil enters your life, it doesn't strike all at once. It works in silence, creeping into your mind, planting doubt, feeding on your kindness, and before you even realize what's happening, you begin to change. At first, it's subtle. You start questioning yourself more often. You feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. You find yourself explaining and justifying your actions to someone who never seems satisfied. It's as if the ground beneath you is no longer steady. What was once clear now feels confusing. What was once peaceful now feels like a battlefield. This is how evil works. It doesn't just harm you directly. It rewires the way you think. It makes you doubt your instincts. It twists your reality until you don't trust yourself anymore. And once that happens, it has full control over you. Psychologists call this gaslighting, a method used by manipulators to make you question your own perception. They will lie to your face. Even when you have proof of the truth, they will dismiss your feelings as too sensitive or overreacting. And over time, you start believing them. You start thinking, maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I'm the problem. But you are not the problem. The problem is the person who is making you feel this way. And here's something even more dangerous. Evil people drain your energy. You might have noticed this. After spending time with them, you feel exhausted, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. It's as if they steal your light, leaving you in the dark. Why does this happen? Because your mind is constantly working to make sense of their contradictions. One moment they are kind, the next they are cruel. One day they act like they care, the next they ignore you completely. This inconsistency keeps you on edge, always guessing, always trying to fix the situation. But there is no fixing it. This is psychological warfare. It's designed to keep you in a cycle of confusion, guilt, and dependence, and the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to break free. But here's what you must remember. A good heart cannot fix an evil one. You cannot love someone into changing if they do not want to change. You cannot reason with someone whose goal is to control you. The more you give, the more they take. The more you explain, the more they twist your words. That is why the first step to breaking free is recognizing the truth. Evil people do not think like you. They do not feel guilt the way you do. They do not regret their actions the way you would. Their goal is not peace. It is power. And they will do whatever it takes to keep that power over you. But once you see through the manipulation, everything changes. The spell is broken. You realize that your feelings are real. Your instincts were never wrong. You were not imagining things. You were being controlled step by someone who never had your best interests at heart. And that realization, that is the beginning of freedom. Because once you see evil for what it is, it loses its grip on you. Once you understand its tactics, you can no longer be fooled. But knowing is not enough. You must take action. You must protect yourself, not just from others, but from the parts of you that want to hold on, that want to believe things will change. Because they won't. not with someone whose heart is set on destruction. And here's the most powerful truth. You deserve better. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that drain you. You deserve peace, not constant anxiety. You deserve love that feels safe, not love that makes you question yourself. So today, decide. Decide to stop explaining yourself to those who will never understand. Decide to stop making excuses for people who keep hurting you. Decide to protect your mind, your heart, your energy, because once you do that, evil loses, and you finally win. Evil people don't attack you physically. They don't need to. Instead, they play with your mind. They make you doubt yourself. They turn your emotions into a weapon against you. It starts with small things. Maybe they make a sarcastic comment about something important to you. When you react, they laugh and say, "Relax, I was just joking." Maybe they ignore you for hours or days. And when you finally ask why, they act as if you're being needy. Or maybe they do something that hurts you, and when you bring it up, they turn it around and say, "You're too sensitive. You always take things the wrong way." Do you see what's happening? You came with a real feeling, a real concern, and instead of addressing it, they made you feel like the problem. And over time, this pattern continues. You start questioning yourself. You start wondering if you really are too sensitive. You start walking on eggshells, afraid of saying the wrong thing. This is emotional manipulation. It's designed to make you feel unstable, to make you second-guess your own emotions, and once they have control over your emotions, they have control over you. But it doesn't stop there. Evil people know how to use guilt as a tool. They know that good-hearted people don't like to hurt others, so they twist the truth to make themselves the victim. Maybe you set a boundary, and suddenly they act like you're abandoning them. Maybe you say no to something unreasonable, and they bring up everything they've ever done for you. Maybe you try to express how their actions made you feel, and instead of listening, they start listing all the ways you've hurt them. Now, instead of standing up for yourself, you're the one apologizing. Instead of feeling strong in your decision, you're doubting whether you were too harsh. This is not an accident. This is a tactic. Because as long as they can make you feel guilty, they can keep you under their control. And here's the most dangerous part. They make you feel responsible for their emotions. If they are upset, it must be because you did something wrong. If they are angry, it must be because you weren't careful enough. If they are cold and distant, it must be because you didn't try hard enough. This creates an emotional prison. You become trapped in an endless cycle of trying to keep them happy, trying to avoid setting them off, trying to be good enough for them. But no matter how hard you try, it's never enough. Because the truth is, they don't want peace. They want power, and the more you bend yourself to please them, the stronger their grip becomes. But there's one thing they fear more than anything else: a person who sees through their manipulation, a person who no longer takes the blame for things that aren't their fault, a person who refuses to be controlled by guilt, and that's what you must become. You must understand that your emotions are not a weakness. Feeling deeply is not a flaw. Caring for others is not something to be ashamed of. But you must also recognize when your emotions are being used against you. You are not responsible for fixing someone who refuses to change. You are not responsible for keeping someone happy at the cost of your own peace. You are not responsible for carrying the emotional weight of another person while they tear you down. The moment you recognize this, something shifts inside you. The guilt starts to fade. The confusion starts to clear. You begin to understand that you are not the problem. You were just made to believe you were. And once you see that, you take back your power. You stop explaining yourself to people who only twist your words. You stop apologizing for things you didn't do. You stop bending over backward for someone who will never appreciate you. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You become free. There is one thing that sets evil people apart from the rest. They do not feel empathy the way you do. They can pretend, they can act like they care, they can say all the right words at the right time. But deep down, they do not feel what you feel. They do not connect to your pain. They do not carry the weight of their actions the way a good-hearted person does. A person with real empathy cannot hurt others without feeling remorse. If they see someone in pain, they naturally want to help. They feel it in their heart. They care, not because they have to, but because it's who they are. But an evil person, they see pain as an opportunity. When something bad happens to you, watch how they react. Do they seem concerned, or do they seem indifferent? Do they listen to you, or do they quickly change the subject? Do they make it about themselves as if your pain is nothing compared to theirs? And what about when you succeed? Do they genuinely celebrate with you, or do they seem irritated? Do they support you, or do they find subtle ways to make you feel guilty for your success? This is the difference between real love and manipulation. A person who truly cares will not be jealous of your happiness. A person who truly cares will not feel pleasure in your suffering. But evil people lack this ability. They only see relationships as a game, one where they must always come out on top. This is why they can lie so easily. A good person hesitates before telling a lie because they understand the consequences. They don't want to hurt someone. They don't want to betray trust. But an evil person, they do not care. They will lie to your face without a second thought. They will deny things they said even when you have proof. They will fake emotions if it benefits them, and when you confront them, they will not feel guilt, they will not feel shame, they might act like they do, they might apologize, they might even cry, but watch their actions, not their words, because no matter how many times they say, "I'm sorry," they will do it again and again and again. This is not because they are careless. It's because they do not feel what you feel. And that is what makes them dangerous. Because if someone does not feel guilt, what is stopping them from doing the same thing over and over? If someone does not truly feel your pain, what is stopping them from causing it? This is why so many good-hearted people get trapped. You assume they must feel bad. You assume they must regret hurting you. You assume they have a conscience just like you. But they don't. And as long as you believe they do, they will keep manipulating you. But the moment you realize this, the moment you understand that they are not like you, that is when you stop expecting them to change. That is when you stop believing their lies. That is when you finally see them for who they are. And when that happens, you begin to take your power back. You stop giving second chances to people who don't deserve them. You stop explaining yourself to someone who will never understand. You stop wasting your energy trying to make them feel something they are incapable of feeling. Because at the end of the day, you cannot teach empathy to someone who does not have it. You cannot make a person care if their heart is set on destruction. But you can walk away. You can choose to protect your own peace. You can choose to surround yourself with people who truly see you, truly value you, truly care. And when you do that, you will experience something that an evil person will never understand. Real love, real connection, real peace. Evil people do not see truth the way you do. To them, honesty is not a virtue. It is a tool, something they twist and reshape to serve their own interests. They lie with ease. Not just small lies, but deep, calculated deception. Lies that rewrite history. Lies that make you question your own memory. Lies that are designed to control you. And the worst part, they are good at it. They do not stutter. They do not hesitate. They say things with so much confidence that you start to doubt yourself instead of them. Even when you know they are lying, something about their certainty makes you wonder if you are the one who is wrong. This is not an accident. This is a psychological manipulation tactic called gaslighting. They will tell you something didn't happen even when you remember it clearly. They will say they never said something even when you recall every word. They will rewrite events in a way that benefits them. And if you try to push back, they will dismiss you, mock you, make you feel like you are overreacting. They do this because the moment you stop trusting your own memory, the moment you start relying on them for the truth, they have total control over you. And they do not stop at twisting reality. They deceive in every aspect of life. They deceive in their words, making promises they never intend to keep. They deceive in their actions, pretending to care when it benefits them. They deceive in their emotions, showing fake remorse, fake tears, fake affection, only when they need something from you. Have you ever noticed how their behavior changes when they want something? One moment they are cold, distant, even cruel. Then suddenly they become kind. They say the words you've been waiting to hear. They treat you the way you've always wanted, but only for a moment. Only until they get what they want. Then just as quickly as they changed, they go back to who they truly are. This is not real kindness. This is manipulative kindness. Because real kindness is consistent. Real love does not disappear the moment it is no longer needed. Evil people study you. They learn your weaknesses. They find out what you desire most, and they use it against you. If you crave love, they will offer affection. If you seek validation, they will give you approval. If you fear abandonment, they will give you just enough attention to keep you holding on. Not because they care, not because they value you, but because they need you to stay under their control. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Once you see through their deception, they lose their power. Because deception only works when you believe it. Lies only have control when you accept them as truth. So ask yourself, have they ever truly changed? Have their apologies ever meant anything? Have they ever taken responsibility for their actions without blaming someone else? Or have they just used words to pull you back in, only to repeat the same cycle over and over? A person who truly wants to change does not need to be convinced. They do not need to be begged. They do not need to be caught in their lies to finally tell the truth. And once you understand that, you stop giving them chances. You stop believing in empty promises. You stop expecting the truth from someone who only knows how to manipulate. You are not obligated to stay in a cycle of deception. You do not have to accept dishonesty as part of love. You deserve truth. You deserve realness. You deserve peace. And the moment you refuse to tolerate lies, the moment you demand honesty not just from others, but from yourself, that is the moment you take your power back. That is the moment deception loses its hold on you. And that is the moment you finally break free. Evil people do not just want power, they need it. Control is their fuel. It is what keeps them going. If they cannot dominate someone, they feel weak, empty, insignificant. This is why they do not seek relationships based on love, trust, or mutual respect. They seek relationships where they can own the other person, where they can pull the strings, where they can dictate emotions, thoughts, and actions. And how do they do this? Through fear, guilt, and dependency. They create fear by making you afraid to upset them. Maybe it's through anger, unpredictable moods, or silent treatments that make you feel like you are walking on a battlefield. One wrong move, one wrong word, and suddenly you are the enemy. This fear keeps you small. It makes you hesitate before speaking up. It makes you question whether it's even worth defending yourself. But fear alone is not enough to keep you under their control. That's why they also use guilt. They make you feel guilty for standing up for yourself. They make you feel guilty for having boundaries. They make you feel guilty for not giving them exactly what they want. They might say things like, after everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I guess I'm just a terrible person then, right? Wow, I never thought you'd be the kind of person to hurt me like this. These words are not random. They are designed to put you on the defensive, to make you forget what they did wrong and focus on proving that you're not the bad guy. And if fear and guilt don't work, they make you dependent. They slowly chip away at your confidence. They make you feel like you need them, like you can't function without them. At first, it may seem subtle. They might constantly criticize your choices, making you doubt your own judgment. They might isolate you from friends and family, making you feel like they are the only person who truly understands you. They might do small things to make you believe you are incapable of standing on your own. And before you realize it, you start relying on them. You start questioning yourself so much that you turn to them for validation. You start feeling like life without them would be impossible, even though they are the very ones making your life miserable. That is the ultimate trap. That is how they keep people under their control for years, sometimes even decades. But there is one thing they fear more than anything: a person who refuses to be controlled. A person who no longer fears their anger. A person who no longer accepts guilt for things that are not their fault. A person who realizes that they do not need them to survive. Because here's the truth they never want you to see. You are stronger than you think. They made you believe you were weak because that was the only way they could keep their power. But the moment you realize your own strength, their control starts to crumble. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You start making decisions without asking for their approval. And suddenly they panic. Suddenly they don't know how to handle you anymore. They might try harder. They might double down on their manipulation. They might throw tantrums, try to make you feel bad, try to pull you back in. But the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stand firm, the moment you realize you are no longer under their spell, they lose. Because control only works when you surrender your power. And when you take that power back, they have nothing left. And that is when you finally break free. That is when you finally step into the life you were meant to live. A life of peace, strength, and absolute freedom. Evil people do not feel the weight of their actions the way good people do. They can lie, manipulate, betray, and destroy lives and walk away without a single ounce of guilt. Because to them, remorse is weakness. Accountability is a joke. The only thing that matters is winning. This is why they never truly apologize. They might say the words, but they don't mean them. They might put on an act pretending to be sorry, but deep down, they are not. Because if they were, they would change. A real apology is not just words. A real apology is followed by action. A person who feels genuine remorse will go out of their way to correct their mistakes, to make sure they never hurt you the same way again. But an evil person, they don't care about your pain. They care about avoiding consequences. That's why their apologies only come when they are backed into a corner, when they realize they might lose control over you, when they see that their usual tricks aren't working. And even then, it's not a real apology, it's a strategy. They will shift the blame. They will twist the story. They will cry fake tears to make you feel sorry for them. They will say things like, "I had no choice. You misunderstood me. I was going through a lot at that time." Anything to avoid taking real responsibility. Anything to make sure you are the one feeling guilty instead of them. And if you forgive them, if you let them back in, they will do it again. And again, and again, because they are not sorry for hurting you. They are only sorry for getting caught. So how do you spot this? How do you know if someone truly feels remorse or if they are just pretending? Watch their actions, not their words. Do they keep making the same mistakes over and over? Do they only apologize when they need something from you? Do they criticize you? Do they need something from you? Do they make promises but never follow through? If the answer is yes, then you are dealing with someone who does not care about right and wrong, someone who will never truly change, someone who sees forgiveness as nothing more than a free pass to keep hurting you. And here is the harsh truth. You cannot teach remorse to a person who has no conscience. No amount of love can change them. No amount of patience will make them see their wrongs. No amount of explaining, begging, or hoping will give them the heart they never had. And the longer you stay, the more they will drain you, the more they will rob you of your peace, your happiness, your self-worth. But the moment you stop expecting an apology, the moment you stop waiting for change, the moment you stop believing in their empty words, that is the moment you free yourself. Because you do not need their remorse to move on. You do not need their permission to heal. You are allowed to walk away from someone who has no respect for your heart. You are allowed to close the door on someone who only knows how to take. And when you do, you will feel something they will never experience. True peace, the kind of peace that comes from knowing you are no longer trapped in a cycle of pain. The kind of peace that comes from choosing yourself over someone who never truly cared. The kind of peace that comes when you finally understand that their lack of remorse is not your burden to carry. It never was, and it never will be. And that is the power of letting go. That is the power of reclaiming your life. And that is when you truly win. Evil people do not just hurt you once. They create cycles of pain that repeat over and over. If you let them stay in your life, they will keep taking, keep manipulating, keep twisting your emotions until you forget who you are. At first, you might believe you can handle it, that you are strong enough to endure their behavior, that if you just love them more, help them more, understand them more, they will finally change. But they won't, because evil people do not change. They adapt. If they see you are catching on to their lies, they will change the way they deceive. If they see you are setting boundaries, they will find new ways to break them. If they see you pulling away, they will pull you back in with fake kindness, empty promises, and temporary affection. This is why so many people stay trapped in toxic relationships, because evil people know exactly when to show just enough good to keep you hoping. But hope is a dangerous thing in the hands of the wrong person. It can blind you. It can make you ignore the truth. It can make you stay in situations that are draining the very life out of you. And over time, something even worse happens. You begin to change. You stop trusting people because you have been betrayed too many times. You stop believing in kindness because you have only seen it used as a weapon. You stop feeling like yourself because you have spent so much time walking on eggshells trying to survive. And that is what evil people want. They want to break you down. They want to make you doubt yourself. They want to take away your ability to walk away. Because as long as you believe you need them, as long as you believe you are too weak to leave, as long as you believe you have no other choice, they win. But here is the truth. You always have a choice. You do not have to stay where you are not valued. You do not have to keep giving to someone who only takes. You do not have to accept pain as the price of love. You are allowed to leave, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Because there is a life waiting for you on the other side of this, a life filled with peace, with joy, with people who truly love you, not for what you can give, but for who you are. And yes, walking away will be hard. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, moments when you wonder if you made the right choice, moments when the fear of being alone feels stronger than the pain of staying. But what is scarier, being alone for a while or spending the rest of your life in a battle you will never win? You have already lost so much by staying. How much more are you willing to lose? Your happiness, your confidence, your future? Because that is the cost of keeping evil in your life. It does not stop at one heartbreak, one betrayal, one moment of pain. It takes everything slowly, silently, until you wake up one day and realize you are nothing like the person you used to be. So today, make a decision, not for them, for you. Decide that your peace is more important than their approval. Decide that your future is more valuable than their temporary affection. Decide that you are worth more than a life spent trying to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. Because the moment you do, that is the moment you take back your life. Walking away from an evil person is not just about leaving them behind. It is about reclaiming yourself, because they did not just take your time, they took pieces of you. Your confidence, your trust, your belief in your own worth. And when you finally break free, those wounds do not disappear overnight. The damage they cause lingers. The doubts they planted in your mind still whisper. The scars they left behind still remind you of the battles you fought. But here is what you need to know. Healing is possible. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not weak for what you endured. And you are not doomed to carry this pain forever. But healing requires something that most people overlook. It requires more than just distance. It requires a complete mental shift. Because leaving an evil person physically is one thing, but leaving them emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that is where the real battle begins. They spent years making you doubt yourself, years making you question your worth, years training you to think that love is supposed to hurt, that your feelings don't matter, that you are not enough. And now you have to unlearn it all. You have to remind yourself that you are not the weak, broken person they made you believe you were. You have to remind yourself that their words were never the truth, just their way of controlling you. You have to remind yourself that love is not supposed to feel like suffering, that real relationships do not leave you in constant fear, that you deserve so much more. But unlearning years of manipulation is not easy, because even after they are gone, their voice still lingers in your mind, the doubts, the guilt, the fear of making the wrong choice. So how do you truly break free? How do you silence their voice? and reclaim your own. First, you cut off all contact. No messages, no calls, no checking up on them, no looking for closure, because closure does not come from hearing one last apology. Closure comes from accepting that you will never get the apology you deserve and moving on anyway. Second, you take back control of your mind. Evil people know how to invade your thoughts, how to make you feel responsible for their actions, how to twist reality until you start believing their lies. But now it is time to challenge every false belief they planted in you. When their voice tells you, "You're nothing without me," you respond, "I was always something, you were just too blind to see it." When their voice tells you, "No one else will ever love you," you remind yourself, "Real love does not come from people who destroy me." When their voice tells you, "You should have tried harder," you affirm, "I gave everything I had. The problem was never me." And most importantly, you forgive yourself, not for what they did to you, but for what you did to yourself by believing their lies, for the times you stayed when you should have walked away, for the times you accepted pain because you thought it was love, for the times you lost yourself trying to save someone who never wanted to be saved, because the truth is you did not fail, you did not lose, you did not waste your time. You learned how to spot deception. You learned how to listen to your instincts. You learned what real love is and what it is not. And now you take that knowledge and build a new life, a life without fear, without guilt, without the weight of someone else's darkness dragging you down, because you are free now. And that freedom is your greatest victory. There comes a moment in life when you have to make a decision, not for them, but for yourself. A moment when you realize that staying in a toxic situation is no longer an option. A moment when you understand that walking away is not weakness, it is power. Because here is the truth. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot grow when you are constantly surrounded by negativity. You cannot find peace when you are living in chaos. You cannot expect happiness when you are holding on to people who thrive on destruction. The hardest part of walking away is not the physical distance, it is the emotional detachment. It is breaking the invisible chains that keep pulling you back, the what-ifs, the guilt, the memories of the good times. But here's what you need to remember. Evil people survive on your hesitation. They know that if they can keep you second-guessing yourself, if they can keep you holding on to hope, if they can make you feel guilty for choosing yourself, then they still have control. But the moment you stop explaining yourself, stop justifying your decisions, stop needing their approval, that is the moment you take back your power. It will not be easy. Your mind will try to trick you into thinking you made a mistake. Your heart will ache for the version of them that never truly existed. Your emotions will beg you to reach out, to check on them, to see if maybe, just maybe, they have changed. But that is the test. Because if you give in, if you reopen that door, if you allow them even a sliver of access into your life, they will walk right back in and destroy you all over again. Not because they hate you, but because they don't care about you. And that is the reality you must accept. Some people do not feel the way you do. They do not love the way you love. They do not hurt they do not lose sleep over the pain they caused. And that is why you must walk away, not because they deserve to be abandoned, not because you want revenge, not because you want to prove anything, but because you deserve peace. Because your life is worth more than a constant battle, because your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who drain it. Because your heart is meant to be loved, not broken, over and over again. And once you truly walk away, something incredible happens. You start to breathe again. You start to see life differently. You start to feel free. And that feeling, that is the reward of choosing yourself. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful thing you can do is let go of what is killing you. And once you do, you will realize you never needed them to survive. You only needed yourself. Walking away is only the beginning. The real challenge starts after the part where you have to rebuild yourself. Because when you've spent so much time being manipulated, drained, and broken, you don't just walk away untouched. You carry the scars, the memories, the doubts that whisper, "What if I'm not strong enough?" But listen carefully. You are. You were strong enough to survive them. strong enough to break free. And now you are strong enough to rebuild yourself into something even greater. But healing does not happen by accident. It happens through deliberate choices. First, you must reclaim your mind. Evil people thrive on confusion. They twist your perception of reality. They make you question your instincts. They train you to second-guess yourself, to doubt your worth, to believe that you are never enough. And now you must undo all of it. You must remind yourself that your thoughts are your own, that your decisions do not need validation, that your value was never determined by someone else's inability to see it. It will take time. Some days you will feel strong, other days the past will creep in, making you wonder if you imagined the pain, if you overreacted, if maybe you should have stayed. That is not the truth. That is the residue of their manipulation, and every time those thoughts appear, you must replace them with something stronger. The truth that you deserved better. The truth that you were not difficult, you were just not willing to be controlled. The truth that leaving was not weakness, it was wisdom. Second, you must rebuild your self-worth. Evil people destroy your confidence because a broken person is easier to control. They make you feel small, insecure, and dependent. They want you to believe that you're lucky to have them, that without them you are nothing. But the reality is, without them, you are free. Free to rediscover who you are. Free to love yourself again. Free to walk with confidence knowing that you are whole with or without anyone else. So start speaking to yourself with the love they never gave you. Start setting standards that honor your worth. Start believing that you deserve peace, happiness, and real love, not the illusion of it. Because the way you treat yourself now, that will set the tone for what you accept in the future. Third, you must learn to trust again, but wisely. When someone has deceived you, used you, and betrayed you, it's easy to believe that everyone is like that. That love always comes with pain, that people always have an agenda, that if you let your guard down, you'll only get hurt again. But do not let one experience define the rest of your life. Yes, evil exists. Yes, some people are dangerous. Yes, you must be cautious, but do not let fear close your heart. Do not let bitterness harden you. Do not let one person's darkness make you forget that there is still light in this world. Not everyone wants to use you. Not everyone is out to hurt you. Not everyone is like them. So be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to heal at your own pace. But do not shut yourself off from the beauty of real connection, because one day you will meet people who remind you what kindness feels like, people who respect your boundaries instead of breaking them, people who show up with love, not manipulation. And when that day comes, you will realize that walking away was not just about leaving them behind, it was about making space for something better. And you deserve better. Pain has two paths. It can either destroy you, or it can build you into something unbreakable. The choice is yours. After dealing with an evil person, it is easy to stay stuck in the pain, the betrayal, the manipulation, the exhaustion. It can feel like a weight pressing down on your soul. You might catch yourself replaying the past, wondering why it happened, why you allowed it, why you didn't see it sooner. But here is what you must understand. Pain is not meant to hold you down. It is meant to wake you up. It is meant to teach you, to shape you, to force you to rise into the strongest version of yourself. Because the truth is, you are no longer the same person who fell for their deception. You are wiser, you are sharper, you are stronger than ever before. And now it is time to take that strength and turn it into something powerful. First, let go of resentment. Holding on to anger does not punish them, it punishes you. Evil people do not lose sleep over the pain they caused. They do not wake up regretting their actions. They move on without looking back. But if you hold on to resentment, if you replay the past, if you let bitterness take root in your heart, then they still control you. And that is exactly what they want. So release it. Not for them, but for yourself. Because your future is too valuable to be poisoned by the past. Second, turn your pain into wisdom. Every tear you cried, every lesson you learned, every moment you felt broken, it all has a purpose. You now have knowledge that most people do not. You can spot deception faster. You can sense manipulation before it takes hold. You know what love is supposed to feel like and what it is not. That knowledge is your power. Use it to protect yourself. Use it to uplift others. Use it to make sure that no one ever takes advantage of you again. Because the most powerful version of you is the one who knows the truth and refuses to fall for the same lies twice. Third, shift your focus from survival to growth. For so long you have been in survival mode, walking on eggshells, protecting your energy, trying to heal. But now it is time to thrive. You were not born just to recover from pain. You were born to experience joy, to chase dreams, to live boldly without fear. So start focusing on the future you want to create. Start setting goals that excite you. Start surrounding yourself with people who bring out the best in you. Because your past does not define you. Your pain does not define you. What defines you is how you rise from it. And you are rising into something unstoppable. Pain tested you, but now it's time to build something greater, an unshakable mindset. Because if there's one thing an evil person fears, it's someone who cannot be broken, someone who refuses to be controlled, someone who stands so firm in their worth that no manipulation can reach them. That person can be you, but it starts with a decision to stop reacting and start leading your own life, a decision to stop fearing people's opinions and start trusting yourself, a decision to never again allow someone to make you feel small. First, train your mind to see through deception. Evil people succeed when they can control your perception. They twist reality, they confuse you, they make you doubt your instincts. But now, you must sharpen your awareness. Every lie, every mind game, every attempt to manipulate you, it all follows a pattern. And once you recognize the pattern, you become immune to it. Start questioning things that don't feel right. Start paying attention to actions, not words. Start trusting the uneasy feeling in your gut instead of ignoring it, because the moment you become aware, their power disappears. Second, develop emotional discipline. Evil people thrive on emotional reactions. If they can make you angry, they win. If they can make you beg for their approval, they win. If they can make you question yourself, they win. But what happens when you stop reacting, when you no longer explain yourself, when you no longer engage in their games, when you no longer let their words affect your emotions? They lose control, and you take back your power. Self-control is your greatest weapon. Master your emotions, and no one will ever be able to manipulate you again. Third, set unbreakable standards. You attract what you allow. If you tolerate disrespect, you will get more of it. If you ignore red flags, they will turn into destruction. If you lower your standards, people will take advantage of it. This is why you must become a person of non-negotiables. No more making excuses for bad behavior. No more giving second chances to people who don't deserve them. No more shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Your standards must be set so high that the wrong people cannot reach them. And when the wrong people realize they can no longer manipulate you, they will leave. That is how you filter out the ones who never deserved you, because the only people who belong in your life are the ones who respect your boundaries, honor your worth, and add value to your life, not pain. Fourth, commit to growth every single day. An unshakable mindset is not built overnight, it is built daily, by choosing discipline over excuses, by choosing wisdom over impulse, by choosing yourself over toxic attachments. It takes effort. It takes awareness. But with every decision, you are creating the strongest version of yourself. And one day you will look back and realize the person they tried to destroy, the person they thought would never rise again, that person no longer exists, because you have become something greater, something untouchable, something they never wanted you to become, unbreakable. The most powerful move you can make against an evil person is not to fight them. It is not to argue, prove your point, or seek revenge. It is to walk away and never look back. Because the truth is, evil people thrive on your energy. They survive on your reactions. They manipulate you into staying engaged, feeding off your emotions like a parasite. But the moment you remove yourself from their game, they lose. They lose their control. They lose their power. They lose the ability to hurt you ever again. And you reclaim your peace. But walking away is not just about leaving. It is about mentally, emotionally, and spiritually detaching yourself from them, because leaving someone physically is easy, but leaving them mentally, that's where the real battle begins. First, stop seeking closure from them. Evil people do not give closure. They give confusion. They want you to keep questioning, keep hoping, keep waiting for an apology that will never come. But you do not need their apology to move forward. You do not need their explanation to heal. The only closure you need is understanding this: they were never going to be the person you wanted them to be, and that is enough. Second, cut all ties completely. No messages, no calls, no checking their social media, no small interactions. Because every time you let them back in, even for a moment, they will try to pull you back into their web. They will pretend to change. They will play the victim. They will manipulate you with guilt, nostalgia, or false kindness. But do not fall for it. People who truly change do not need to convince you. They show you through consistent actions over time. And if you are dealing with someone who has spent their life manipulating others, their words mean nothing. Third, focus on building a new reality. Evil people want you to stay stuck in the past. They want you to waste years wondering why it happened. They want you to feel bitter, angry, and broken. Because as long as you are trapped in the past, you are not living in the present. And that is why you must start creating a future so bright, so fulfilling, that the past no longer matters. Start focusing on your growth. Start setting goals that push you forward. Start surrounding yourself with people who bring peace, not chaos. Because when you build a life that is filled with purpose, the past loses its power over you. Fourth, forgive, but not for them. Forgiveness is not about excusing their behavior. It is not about letting them back into your life. It is about setting yourself free. Because as long as you hold on to resentment, they still have a grip on you. But when you forgive, when you let go, you reclaim every part of yourself that they tried to break. And that is the ultimate victory. Fifth, step into your power. Walking away is not just an escape, it is a transformation. It is the moment you decide no one will ever have this kind of control over me again. Because you are no longer the same person. You are wiser, you are stronger, you are free. And no one, not them, not the past, not the pain, can ever take that away from you. There comes a moment when you realize you are no longer the same person. The pain that once shattered you now fuels you. The betrayal that once destroyed your trust has built your wisdom. The darkness that once surrounded you has only made your light shine brighter. You are no longer a victim. You are no longer easily fooled. You are no longer someone who can be broken by the tricks of evil people. Because now you are untouchable. But being untouchable does not mean you are cold, unfeeling, or hardened by life. It means you are aware. You recognize manipulation the moment it appears. You sense bad energy before it gets close. You no longer tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or deceit because you have learned that protecting your peace is more important than pleasing people. First, you have mastered the power of silence. Evil people want a reaction. They want your anger, your frustration, your need to explain yourself. But you have outgrown that. You no longer waste energy proving your worth to people who refuse to see it. You no longer argue with those who twist the truth. You no longer give attention to drama, gossip, or negativity. Because the strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It is the one who knows when to walk away. Second, you have built a life so full that no one can take anything from you. Evil people target those who feel empty inside. They manipulate those who are searching for validation, love, or fulfillment outside of themselves. But you have done the work. You have created a life that brings you joy, purpose, and meaning. You no longer need anyone to complete you because you are already whole. You do not chase people. You attract those who align with your energy. And that is why evil people can no longer reach you. They see you thriving without them. They see you unbothered by their absence. They see that their tricks, their games, their manipulation no longer work, and that is their greatest fear. Third, you have become fearless. Fear is the tool of the wicked. They try to control you by making you afraid of being alone, afraid of failing, afraid of what people might say. But you no longer live in fear. You trust yourself. You know your worth. You believe in your ability to overcome anything because you have already survived what was meant to break you. And now you fear nothing, not their opinions, not their judgment, not their attempts to bring you down, because you are standing in your power. Fourth, you radiate a new energy, one they cannot touch. Evil people can sense strength. They can feel when someone is immune to their tricks. And when they look at you now, they know you are no longer an easy target. You are no longer controlled by emotions. You are no longer someone they can manipulate, use, or deceive. You have outgrown them, and that is why they will either leave or try one last time to pull you back in. But now you know better. You know that no amount of fake apologies can undo the truth. You know that no amount of false kindness can change a person's nature. You know that real peace comes from removing the wrong people, not holding on to them. And that is why you will never go back. Finally, you have stepped into the person you were always meant to be, a person who is strong, wise, and unstoppable, a person who no longer settles for less than they deserve, a person who has turned their pain into power. And now you walk through life with a confidence that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be disturbed, and a strength that no one, not even the most evil person, can break, because you have won